one of the lessons I tried to teach the kids early on when they were doing chores and we were new to farming is that if they ever see anything unusual, they need to report back to me. And a couple of times things would happen and I would notice days later and a kid would fess up and say, oh yeah, I saw that last week, or I noticed that before. So I feel like I'm finally getting the message across to some of them. And this morning Tommy was heading out to the oat bin to get some gloves so he could go do a little bit of work down the road, and he reported to me that the Serama chicks were no longer in the brooder. They were still in the oat bin and the door was closed, but they were no longer in the brooder where they were supposed to be. So we're gonna go take a look and see if we can't capture them back up and determine how they got out. So this is the oat bin.
This is my dirty feet.
And those are your dirty feet. And this is where we keep our chick brooder now. We don't really have oats anymore, but we installed a door on it last year or the year before so that we could keep the cats out and any chickens in when they do escape. Before we disturb any of the evidence, I think I see our problem.
They flew out here?
This hole that we have cut for the extra heat light to go through when we need it normally has this cover over the top of it, and our cover is missing. So we have a leather strap on the inside here so that we can latch our door. That latched shut. All right, you got one, Finn? Hey, look at you. Come show her to me. Okay. Criminal number 1. What a naughty girl. You're a naughty girl. So Finn sees where they've gathered behind this door back here. Escapee number 2. You're bad. You're very bad. Hang on, Finny, I'll come get that one. Escapee number 3. At least this one appears to be sorry. Tell everybody you're sorry for making bad decisions. I can tell you're sorry. You're regretting your decision. You're cold. Good job, Pete.
There's one that rooster's always.
Yeah, that's Mr. Stripes, and he's going to be the trickiest one.
Why does he strike at you?
No, Mr. Stripes, not Mr. Strikes.
Oh, but well,
no, he won't strike at you.
Will he strike at me?
No. Are you sorry that you made a bad decision? No, you don't look particularly regretful. I know, but you have to learn that I hug my chickens. So this is the leader of the group. Likely the one who hatched the plan to escape. You're gonna have a good life here. Don't escape. Okay? Your friends are in here. They're eating breakfast without you because you made bad choices.
Do I need to put this down so you can exit?
No, I think I can exit without falling down the hay chute. Even if I fall down it, that'll make for good TV. This afternoon we are out here in the orchard tucking in some new baby plants that we got. You have to get creative when you go from having a huge budget. I was probably planning on spending maybe $500 or $600 this summer on edibles, but that was before I lost my job. Now that I don't have a job, it's complicated because I need those edibles more than ever to provide for my family, but I have zero budget to work with, so I have to get creative. So I looked at what plants I had and what cuttings I had already taken from my own that I was propagating. So that was the currants mainly. And I put an ad on our local town Facebook page, just a Facebook group, that said, I'm getting ready to start my food forest. These are the cuttings that I have available for trade. These are the things I'm looking for. And what I was looking for was mostly edibles, but also plants that have uses. So maybe things like willow. I have a lot of projects that could use willow, and willow water is particularly good for getting things to root, things like that. So I put together this list and put my ad on last night, and I could not believe, and it was late last night, but I could not believe the response I had. I probably have 6 or 7 houses lined up that I need to go to and trade with them. So today we went to one house where we picked up We were supposed to go pick up yellow raspberries, but once I got there and we got to talking, she also offered me red raspberries, and she offered me some mint, which of course came with a strong warning to plant it very carefully because of how aggressive it is. But all to say, and she didn't even want a cutting in exchange, she just wanted to share. She had strategic raspberry beds, and these ones were growing outside of her beds. So this was helpful to her and extremely helpful to me. I ordered a few raspberries, but I ordered mine from Stark Brothers before I found out I was going to be broke. And luckily they're already paid for. But it was so expensive. I think I got, I can't even tell you how much I paid. It wasn't really that bad, but it adds up. And what I just got from this woman was probably 50 or 60 raspberry plants. She takes her raspberry canes at the end of the season and she trims them off in the fall to about 6 inches. So what I did was I dug out all of those 6-inch canes that were outside of her perimeter where she didn't want them, and could not believe how many babies were attached to them. So we have, I don't know, 50 or 100 plants probably that I just paid nothing for. Also, I got to have some red raspberries from her. The downside of getting these from other people is you don't know what variety you have. They'll tell you they're either yellow or they're red and they're not the tart ones, or you get little descriptions like that, but you don't really know what variety they are. The good news is they're free or close to it often, and you know they work in your area. I picked these up less than 2 miles away from my house, so I know that they're going to be good growing in our area and do all right with our soil. So for example, ouch, they have, oh, of course they have pickers on them. Didn't know that. So here is just an example of one of the ones I got, and you can see it maybe not super well, but you see this little green bud right here is already sending off a side shoot. So I have a whole entire crate full of these guys, and these ones are yellow raspberries. So I'm going to plant them behind me in this area that already had yellow raspberries planted last year. Unfortunately, I planted them and didn't mark them, so Scott ran them over with the lawnmower. Sadly, they did not survive that. So anyway, the yellow raspberries are going to go into the permaculture orchard in between 2 trees that are already there, 2 fruit trees. And that's part of the, oh, there's a bluebird above me, 2 of them. And that is part of the design for the permaculture orchard, is that you have plants mixed in with other edible perennials and don't have a monoculture or one single variety or cultivar growing only. So got myself a whole bunch of yellows. Additionally, got a whole bunch of reds. And here's one of the reds I got. So I probably picked up, I bet, $100 to $150 worth of raspberry plants if I were to order this many. And think of the benefits. I don't have to pay shipping. I don't have to wonder if this variety is going to do well by me. Also, I made a contact out there in the community, and she knows now that I'm looking for edible perennials. She let me know that when I am ready for flowers and those types of perennials, that she has lots of those and would love to share. So it was a good way to build community and add more people to our support network. So we have got a line of our new yellow raspberries in here, and then we've got a whole nother section a little bit further to the north of yellow raspberries as well. And the beautiful thing about these is they'll multiply year after year, so we'll have more plants to trade and more to grow. I am now getting ready to label all of the raspberries that I just put in. Because I don't know the name of the variety, I'm just labeling them raspberries yellow and then the last name of the person that I got them from. Another frugal gardening tip is check with your local factories and see what byproducts they have that they give away for free. This is a 5-foot fiberglass pole, and we happen to have a factory in the next town over that will give these away for free. And you'll see as you look at the rest of my orchard, that is exactly what I have marking all of my trees. But the only trick with this particular factory is that you can't just go there and pick up 4. You have to be willing to take a trailer full. So I have a huge stockpile of them, but I have used them for fences for rotational grazing. I've used them to mark every single thing I've planted in my yard. And I will continue to find frugal uses for them all over the farm, especially since I no longer have an income. You're driving the lawn tractor? Kitty, kitty. Oh, that's a good girl. Good girl. This is my stockpile. I almost just died there. That's why you used your emergency brake on the gator. I move pretty fast for a big girl. All right, 12 of those posts. Do I follow her? So because these are kind of chewed up down here, I am going to give them a nice clean cut. I don't know that that matters, but it feels like the right thing to do for them.
It's green.
Yeah, I think that's a really good sign if it's green in there. Look at that. Yep, I think that means it's a live wood. Because this guy's so crazy and tall already, I don't want to do a whole heck of a lot to him. I'm going to let him be tall, but most of them have a pretty jagged looking edge on the top here. We'll just trim them back a little bit. After we're done with that. Oh, you're gonna have enough? I was gonna get you more, but you might have enough. Oh, awesome. Man, I have dirty water in here. It clogged it up.
What the?
Oh, now it's working again. Oh, see it? Hucky and I came up to the neighbor's house because he told us that he was getting ready to seed his corn and he still had corn seed left over from last year in his planter, and told us if we wanted to come up here and clean it out, we could have all of it. So again, being the newly most frugal homesteader there is, I had to jump on the opportunity so that I could have some extra sweet corn this year, because sweet corn seed is one of the more expensive seeds to buy, and I can use all the sweet corn we can get. Oh my goodness, there's a lot in there. And Zach does not want a sweet corn patch here, Regan, so we are not going to spill any of this seed on the ground, okay? We'll wait till Huck is done and then we'll get it and put it over there. We could maybe fill up my sweatshirt pouch.
Can I fill up?
As long as we don't drop any. Look at all that. Just a little bit of what's there. I have to say, oh, I got that grease on my arm. Just after I told you not to get it on you, Rig, and I got it on myself. Grrr. I have to say that finding out that I will be losing my job in 2 months has really put a certain amount of pressure on me. Really good pressure. I am a very, very creative person by nature, and if I don't do something creative every day, I sort of start to feel
Mom, my
stuck.
kitty's really full.
Good job. And I feel like I'm not doing anything I'm passionate about. And creativity doesn't have to be in the form of art or anything like that. It can sometimes be in the form of problem solving. Like, for example, I have a wish list of all the items I want to plant this summer, and I have no budget for them. So how can I get a hold of those items that I want? Well, by bartering and by trading, by asking people for cuttings, by being willing to put in the time, by being willing to be extra creative and find things I can trade people, by being willing to strike when the iron's hot. When it's late at night or later into the evening and I find out that somebody has some corn they're willing to give me for free, I need to be able to find the energy to pick up and go get it. And it's just been a lot of fun to have that feeling back again, where I think I was getting kind of caught in the rat race, even though we had opted out of a lot of things. We had moved from the city, we had, we're homeschooling, so we're limited how many extracurricular activities the kids are in. We're really kind of doing our own thing, but working remotely and having to give 40 hours of my time to somebody else, to a job that I was not passionate about. I was decent at it. I did a good job. Holy smokes, look at all that.
Mom, but it's
So I'm gonna have 40 hours back where I can work on something that is something I'm passionate about. All to say that I'm already seeing the silver lining, and I'm almost wishing that May 31st wasn't my last day at work and that maybe next week would be great. But I will say this, I'm already living in the mindset of I don't have a paycheck anymore, so I'm not living beyond my means right now. I know that that paycheck is gonna come to an end, and I'm trying to get used to that lifestyle already.
Mom, is this an electric fence?
That is an electric fence, don't touch it. That will be a shocking experience if you touch that fence. So anyway, sort of scattered thoughts there, but it's not all doom and gloom anymore. I'm motivated and energized and ready to figure this out on a super shoestring budget. All right, let me figure out how I can get the very last of my corn out of this corn planter. Oh, there goes Rocky. I call him Rocky One Socky because if you look closely, you probably can't see in this light, he's completely solid brown, except for his back left leg has a little white sock on it. You are simply beautiful tonight. Come on, come see us.
What do I hang there?
Rocky's gotta go. He says dinner time. Better hurry. Seriously, look at how fast he's running.
Look at the